Learn with Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach Portnaar. Baderech el Chasulam. On the way to the ladder. Part 1, Lesson 7. The 13 qualities of mercy. Number 1. El, name of the Creator at the level of Hesed. 2. Rachum, merciful. 3. Vechanun, and consolable. 4. Erech, long. 5. Apaim, in anger, long, of anger, very patient to show his anger. 6. Verav Hesed, and very gracious. 7. Ve'emet, and truthful. 8. Notzer Hesed, that forms mercy. 9. Le'alafim, for thousands. 10. Nosavon, forgives, carries sins. 11. Vafisha, and criminal acts. 12. Vechata, and slip-ups. 13. Venakeh, and purifies. In the Zohar, we have reached the 13 qualities of mercy, Rachamim. We are learning Knesset Israel, Malchut, is surrounded from above with this, protected by this. Yesterday evening, and today it is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. On this day, these 13 words are very important. They are spoken several times at this day, but most of the people do not understand the meaning of this. Tonight we will pronounce these words one time, just before the closing of the gates of heaven. Yud Gimel Midot Verachamim, 13 qualities of mercy. This is the subject Zohar speaks about in the beginning, and with this we learn Knesset Israel, the Malchut, is surrounded from above, protected, and surrounded by them. Accordingly, the calendar, according to the calendar of the universe, with this is named the Jewish calendar. This is the time, every year, at the same moment, there is from above a favorable moment for man to give extra effort and to be careful and with attention to be aware of these days and his life. That he become aware not to spoil his life in vain. In the first or second lesson, we already had spoken about these 13 words written in the Torah. At the beginning, Elohim created. The name Elohim was used because it is, as it was, perfect, only in Katnut. Between the first and the second mentioning of the name Elohim are 13 words. These words correspond with the 13 words, see the beginning of this lesson, given later to Moses when he asked of the Creator to tell him how he administrated the universe. He wanted eagerly to know how this was working, knowing for to do and not to stimulate his intellect. Knowing for to serve, that's the point, and not to know for yourself, because then you are looking for death. Even for Moses, it was a problem, as it was for every generation and us. In the Talmud, Brachot, blessings, we can read this tractate wherein Moses asked at the Creator, "Please, will you tell me?" We always say you to the Creator. All other nations say you to the Creator. In a way, this gives a distance, because from the Creator is somewhere in heaven, but for a Jew, he's very near. A Jew cannot say you to the Creator. To a stranger, you say you. If there is a kinship, you can say you to someone. We're not talking about religion here. I say once more, we have nothing to do with religion. It is the Creator and I, you and the Creator, and I have to bring myself in harmony with His laws. The laws are as they are, and not a wishful thinking or to bring myself in agreement with whatever religion there exists. But if you want to do that, I will not stop you. Moses was so surprised. He said, Ribono shel olam, Master of the universe, tell me, how do you control the universe, because I don't understand. He was the greatest ever, and he didn't understand. How can we understand? He said, I look sometimes to someone who is righteous, a divine, a righteous person who does well and lives according to laws, and still he is in distress. He suffers. And others who look as evildoers have earthly possessions and a marvelous life. For him this was very strange, and he wanted to know what the qualities were of the universe, and that the Creator would reveal himself to him. The Creator answered him, I am the merciful for who I want to be merciful, and I am graceful for who I want to be graceful. In other words, it is not for your concern, because if there would be an obvious government, we would be as angels, and it is just the intention, by not understanding, that we bring up faith to believe it is good. If we should see someone who is nice and good for others, lives according to laws, and he would receive directly a reward, we would do the same. But it is not in the intention that we reason and cause. We can't see why someone who is in our eyes an evildoer can have a wonderful life. There are laws, but we can't see them. Moses insisted very much. He eagerly wanted to know, and because he had the level at which the Creator couldn't ignore him, he had to tell him. It is the same with us. The more you do, the more you bring yourself in accordance with the laws of the universe, the more you can demand. Demanding, of course, in complete modesty, and only when you have achieved a level where you have earned, as it were, and not otherwise, because if you demand unlawfully, it will be seen as a demanding of a child. He demanded from the Creator, and the Creator had revealed to him the 13 qualities of mercy. Before you pronounce these words, you say twice the four-letter name of the Creator. Before the gates of the heaven are closing, we will pronounce it together, without standing up. In a synagogue, they all stand up. When you rise, it means you have gadlut, completeness. If a man rise during the prayer, he comes in a large condition regarding the prayer, because prayers are made by great wise men in a perfect way. To sit is a small condition. Tonight people will kneel in the synagogue, and it has to do with a certain level of devotion during the prayer, whereby you sacrifice yourself, as it were. Without sacrificing, without repentance, it is absolutely impossible to achieve anything in life. Repentance is for us predestined by the operational system of the universe. It is important that you rise up inwardly to speak out the 13 qualities as praise for the King of the universe. All these qualities you will find everywhere in the universe, and that is the condition when there is gadlut. If man not work at himself at daily terms, he will lose touch with the eternal, the laws of the universe, and then he's asking for misery. The 13 qualities of mercy will be pronounced several times in the synagogue today, and during this the ark will be open. Open means the higher strength turns his face to us, and at that time man must use this moment to do his utmost best to make use of this opportunity. In a way, it is not only for today, it is for every day. Don't wait for this day. This is what has been written. Elakim, too, etc. In the text, it is with bolded lettering to show us it comes from the Zohar. And now we will discuss the subject. And now we have come out to 13 words. These 13 words are prototype of mercy. You can read these words in the first few sentences in the Torah itself. There's a principle. Ein mugdat me'achar b'Torah. There is no sooner or later in the Torah. And one more time. Ein mugdam me'achar b'Torah. There is no sooner or later in the Torah. There is no chronological order. Of course, spiritual. Everything what has happened with Moses and his people, etc. You can already see this in the roots of the act of creation. Everything is connected with each other. Nothing comes from nowhere. Later on, we will see, by Cain, for instance, where all the sins come from and what these sins are. And of course, we can see the good things too. Zohar is telling us that between the first announcement and the second announcement of the word Elakim, there were 13 words. And these words were the strengths of Rachamim, mercy, only in the germ, for it to come out later, to sprout out later. In every generation, we see the same mechanism working faultlessly, only in a different form. In the fact or in the act of creation, we can see everything, even unto the arrival of the Messiah. We can see in the Torah. If you are familiar with the story of the act of creation, you know what that was. What was, is, and will happen. All strengths are all ready. This teaches the name Elohim in the poem here as follows. In the Torah itself, he is quoting here, in the beginning, Elohim created. You see, the name Elohim and not God, because we have to know about which strength we deal with here. That the secret is the Binah. Binah, therefore, is Elohim. It does emanate the nukva of Ze'ah. We have said there are 6 Sfirot of Ze'ah and 1 of Malchut. This is what has been created. The 7 days. What is the same as the 7 Sfirot? It came out 13 words, and these are. The Hebrew word et is a passive voice. It is written with the first and the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Et, the heaven, and et, the earth. And the earth was waste and empty, and the darkness above the abyss, and the Spirit. From the first to the second time Elohim is named, there are 13 words. Everything is in the germ, in the act of creation, to be unfolded later. These 13 words of mercy are not the words of heaven and earth, spirit, etc., but they are already the qualities. Later in the time, at lower levels, they will come as expressions of the qualities. They manifest themselves to us as qualities. In the first sentences of the Torah, it are only words, names of the Creator. And at the 13 words of mercy, they are the qualities of the Creator. They are the names of the Creator. Do not imagine yourself a heaven or an earth, because it has nothing to do with the material. Check out constantly that you make not images. Otherwise you think it is about things that weren't meant to be. Kabbalists always speak concerning the strengths, and this is only possible in our earthly language. Heaven, earth. The earth was waste, chaos, and empty, but at the 13 words of mercy we already see the revelation of the Creator to Moses. In all these strengths that are the qualities of the Creator himself. In the 13 words we are learning now, heaven, earth, etc. You can't see this. There it is still in the germ. So, to the Elohim, second, to the second time, the name of Elohim was mentioned, and the Spirit of God, breath, hovered over the waters. Right from the beginning in the Torah, we see these 13 words, 13 qualities of mercy. And with this, the whole creation will be surrounded and protected. That these 13 words, sometimes he uses milah, and then teva for the word. Later we will see why. To give a hint, we will see often this word, to give a hint, romzim. At the 13 leaves of the lily, under the thorns in the secret, the sea that stands above the 12 oxen, as mentioned above. Last time we had spoken about Solomon, who had built the temple. This was a reference, remez, to the spiritual level. Near the temple complex, they had constructed a sea, and under the sea were the pillars, the 12 oxen. As there's something sacred at the sea or at the oxen? By no means. It was a reference on the nukwa, whereby 1 sphira was above the waters and 12 under. Of course, people went there to bow. The common workers in every nation think that those things are secret. It is always easier to bow for something you can't see. It is very difficult to realize something is divine, but lives therefore and not made from brick or something else. That is, in the program, and lives forever. Many people who otherwise never go to a synagogue go at these days, and they bow to the ark and think something is in it. There's nothing divine in it. Divine things live forever. You must see it this way. Of course, there's nothing wrong to go to the synagogue, but when you bow for the Torah and think you bow for the Creator, the Eternal, it has no sense. You can only find something divine in a church or in a synagogue when you are in harmony, in agreement with the eternal, absolute laws of the universe, because that gives you life. He is therefore telling us that these 13 words have a parallel with sea and the 12 oxen. The sea is somewhat hovering, unlimited, and the oxen are standing under the parsah, a line that divides in Bria. Oxen means heavy, physical. This is preparation, and to make oneself kosher, to prepare for the condition of Knesset Israel. We have said Knesset Israel, Malchut, is in her full condition. The fact that there are 12 still in Bria and one above means that she is still in a small condition, and that is a period of preparation. That she, Knesset Israel, collection of Israel, Malchut in her full glory, should receive 13 forgivenesses of mercy. These 13 words, the heaven and the earth, etc., where we already have spoken about, these are, as it were, indicators that Knesset Israel, Malchut, should receive later all these qualities of mercy. These 13 words written in the Torah, heaven, earth, spirit, etc., are names of the Creator in the germ. But when they have been worked out and come in the Knesset Israel, they have another form, the form of qualities. There is no difference. All the laws of the universe are simple and genius. You must run for everything what is complex. In our world, it is sometimes a necessity, but you have to bring it to always to above, so you can see the essence. It is always simple. Everything what is complex is in the essence, and in the higher it is simple. Complex means there are antitheses. And that is what has been said, to surround the Knesset Israel and to protect them. Here we see that it was already in the act of creation. From Rosh Hashanah, New Year, onwards, today 10 days have passed. 10 days means a whole partzuf. And today it is Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. And this is a very important moment to pronounce these 13 qualities. About 4 minutes, the gates of heaven will close. Of course, it is not exactly so that everything will be closed. It is always good to come when the doors are opening or just before closing time, but not when the gates are closed. Just before the shopkeeper closes the doors, you can bargain. At the beginning of the day, the shopkeeper thinks, let them come. I have the whole day. It is the same with the Creator. Although the synagogue is filled with people, the Creator sees only the inside of a person. When we pronounce these 13 words, and the inner devotion is very important, do not play comedy. Try to do with the complete devotion. We have no idea how much the Creator wants to close us in. We have no idea how much the Creator wants to close us in and to pour out His 13 qualities of mercy upon us. Try not to doubt it. Before I say these words, I first pronounce the name of the Creator twice. Later, we will see the structure of every word in Hebrew, where the strength comes from, and where the strengths are in harmony in man himself. It is our business too, but we shall not pronounce the names written in the Torah. We have to do with the Sfirot. We will know where it is in ourselves, which place you have to harmonize in yourself to bring yourself in agreement. El, for example, agrees with Chesed. Sphira is emanation, reflection of the light, and the names of the Creator. The gates of the heaven are yet closed, but we can get such a power when can open the gates promptly. We are not a passive link in a machine. If we are in agreement with the higher strengths, we can demand. A great saint has the power to let come out from him an enormous strength through which he can pronounce a prayer, that through the force of the prayer can undo all the regulations, misery, etc., that have to come in the world, because the high court had already decided past judgment, because this is inevitable through the behavior of humanity. A human being can undo the verdict from above. Do you see what is a human being? What power can man build up? We have to become like him, and not in a hypocritical way make ourselves small. It depends only from you, and not from somewhat or someone else, either religion or feast days. Nothing happens if you only go to the synagogue or to the church. You can pronounce these 13 qualities at home, in a little room, or wherever you are. It has to be sincere. Before the pronouncing of these 13 qualities of mercy, you have to say twice the name Adonai. It is written, the 4-letter name Avaya, but instead we say this name. We pronounce Adonai, but in a common situation it is not allowed to pronounce the name Adonai, so that you don't use the name of the Creator in vain. The 4-letter name means was, is, and shall be. No unclean forces suck at this name. In Adonai is everything, and as strengths you will do unfolded. Even if you don't understand, say the words without doubt, without full. Even if you don't understand, say the words without doubt, with full devotion. Doubt is the problem from everyone. The difference between a saint and others is that a saint has more confidence. Nobody has confidence from nature. You have to build up. Then you will experience. Experience and not knowing. From knowing comes no blessing from above. You can know anything. The Talmud, the Holy Scriptures, you can know them by heart, and still nothing will happen. It is devotion. Through devotion, you receive anything. Because 13 qualities, midot, means quality but also measuring. Everything what you can measure is a quality. When it is not measurable, it is light. Of mercy, rachamim, comes from the word rachem, uterus. We too are, as it were, in the womb. The whole universe is a kind of placenta for us. Everything is there. All the strengths, water, everything is in us too. That they are complete mochin. Literally, mochin means brains. Light, in the kilim of ze'ah and malchut, whole, of nukva. He's telling us that 13 qualities of mercy are light, no words, but light. Perfect light of the nukva and the malchut of Atzilut, from where comes all the good to the creation. Later, we will experience this step by step, because man is embedded in the nukva. We are part of this. What happens in the higher happens too in the souls of man. Remember this very carefully. We don't speak about our physical body. That is namely no subject from the Kabbalah, and at all no subject of the Torah. The body dies. This is difficult because people think it is sacred. My body doesn't differ from a body of a dog or another animal. It is all taken from the earth. There is nothing sacred at our body. Remember this. No man ever had a wonderful body. Saints had inwardly an enormous purification, but the flesh stinks just as from other beings. Of course, you must take care for your body. You can't say, okay, my body isn't sacred. Now I can do anything with it, adultery, etc. In your body is your soul. You have to wash yourself, take care of yourself. But from all this, you won't become more sacred. Neither through a ritual bath, mikveh. You become closer to the Creator if you are not from the inside open and you don't surrender. But if there is a complete surrender from the inside, you can wash yourself even in a swamp, and you become white and shining out of the water. Of course, I can't say this, it is not proper, but by right intention and surrendering, the place doesn't matter for it to come nearer to the Creator. I want that each of you go fast forwards, and that is only possible when I'm honest and don't spare feelings. If you want to grow up and function in a way the Creator wants us to function, and not according to your own wishful thinking. Once I was in a place in the Netherlands, and in one street there were 5 or 6 churches. So much hate was there. It is the same with my people. There is awful hate between different qualities, liberal and orthodox. They look at each other as a piece of dirt. And in the Netherlands there is less difference. Catholic, Protestant, they hate each other. It is not allowed to greet each other. And the marriage between those beliefs is unthinkable. Even 2 young lovers, both from the Reformed Church, but of a different movement, they couldn't marry. like Romeo and Julia. I want you to avoid such behavior. It has nothing to do with what kind of color we are. We are all in the same boat. We all strive for the same goal. Everyone strives to his own goal, but we are connected with each other. Do you understand? Gradually, you will have to accept this with your heart. If you're a Catholic, try to accept someone who's Reformed with your heart, because with your hearts, you are close together. You are both Christian. And gradually, you will have the strength to accept another person. And then you can accept a Jew, too. Of course, all of you know what I'm trying to say. Why is it always a problem considering the Jews? The problems are in yourself. You have to accept the Jew in yourself and not the culture. Christian, Arabic, or whatever religion of non-religion, you can come only to the Creator if you accept the Jew department in yourself. Inside, we all have us a Jew. We are considered with each other. We are connected with each other. Only a Jew, his birthright is Jews. He is always a Jew, and he must stay close at the Creator. The Jew carries everyone in oneself. The Creator has the Jews scattered in all the nations, so that they can take in all the qualities of the entire nation, and then they can return to the third temple. And when there is a temple service, all the nations will be present in the Jews. As a Jew, all of us will be present. To tell lies is the most awful thing you can do, but it is so deep-seated in us. We have to learn not to do this because after a while, you do not know what is true, and that is horrible. And then you do not know how you have to build up a relation with the Creator. We must make an effort. We will learn this to become more and more clear. Clear, not complicated, because complication comes through the lies. The Creator has made man to be genius, simplicity. Simplicity and not straying the truth. In our world, we see people who have an enormous wealth and who are honest, have done honest business. It is in their character. And there are people who have received their wealth as a falsehood, in a false manner. They will not become happy and come closer to fulfillment. It is the same for all other things. It is considered that they, the 13 qualities of mercy, surround her, enshrine her from all sides, all around her, because Nukva is in full condition, and it is considered that they surround her, and she is protected by them. Those 13 qualities of mercy, from the touching of the outsiders. Outsiders are our own imperfections. The sucking of unclean forces is in us, and it feels as an attack from the outsiders. Therefore, a man who is less educated has more hate for other people. He is so full of unclean forces, and they gnaw at him, and he feels this, and projects them at the outside world. The more we come in fulfillment, live according to the laws of the universe, we get unattached from the sucking of the klipot, the unclean forces. Everywhere where there is a shortcoming in our fields of observation, we have a feeling there is something sucking at us. We feel emptiness. Step by step, we will learn what the sucking of unclean forces is. It is a feeling of a leakage, a leak in you. A woman perhaps can understand this better. Every month she has her period. In the spiritual, there is a leakage too, at man and woman. It depends on your development. Your development doesn't mean reading a lot of books, but it has to do with your willingness to work on yourself. Through this, your work at your fulfillment and the act of creation, he's telling us, from the touch of the outsiders, the nukva, the last strength of the absolute, by bringing oneself in perfection to be able to see all the lights. And she is surrounded by these strengths, these 13 qualities of mercy, which every one of us can feel. In every situation, you can feel if you are surrounded at that moment by the mercy of the Creator. At such a moment on your level, you see clear, face to face at the Creator, but on your level, and not at the level Moses could see. Why can't we see him? The unclean forces are still sucking at us. The Creator created all these unclean forces to let us grow, to let us come to adulthood. There must be an irritating feeling, and that irritation is making us that I become conscious that there is a shortcoming in me. And then I start to work on myself. When do you go to the doctor? When you have pain, and not when you're healthy. Often people go too late. Often people go too late to the doctor. Surrounded by 13 qualities, you have the feeling of protection. Why do we have fear? We are attracted by the unclean force and adulterous thoughts. We have to learn to remove these adulterous thoughts right at the start, when they are in the germ, and not wait so that they have become like a malicious swelling. Through the learning of Kabbalah, you become attentive and you will react at time. We are a product of this nukva, this malchut of the Absolute, from where comes all the good to our world. And now we see she is protected against the sucking of the outsiders. These outsiders are for her always outsiders. Our strengths and she, and we too experience them as a condition of katnut, when we have not 10 sfirot. Because as long as she hasn't the great light, Mochin, light of Zerampin and Malchut, these 7 sfirot are named Mochin, with the shining of Chokmah. The Malchut of Nukva must always have a little Chokmah, wisdom. The other 9 sfirot doesn't need that. These are the qualities of the Creator, and they have enough at Chasidim, mercy. Only Malchut needs a large condition because she is the lowest of everything. She is the creation, the most rough of all. And the rougher it is, the more Chokmah is needed. Chokmah can penetrate into these rough conditions. Look, for example, at 2 people. One of them has a little ego, egoism, and the other has a large ego. It is easier to correct the little ego. He has small deeds or small needs. The other person who wants the whole world has more trouble to correct himself. Suppose that both of them have corrected themselves. The one with the bigger ego is higher. He is a blessing for himself, for the Creator and the whole world. But if they are not corrected, the one with the small ego is better. He's less dangerous for the society. The greater the ego of a person, the more we want him here, at the study of the Kabbalah. But the one with the small ego can correct himself sooner, and he can be of help. He can help an evildoer. What does evildoer mean? That he is far away from his correction. Question from a course participant. Does the size of the ego say something of the quality of the soul? Answer. We do not know in what condition the soul is. No one can see this. Either Moses couldn't see this, and it is said he could speak with the Creator face to face. He hadn't to make so much effort as others must do. We will learn how we can make contact with the Creator. It would become as easy as to dial a phone number. Everything depends from you. If your thoughts were at the outer, and then you go and learn Zohar on your level, you can see the Creator right in front of you. Your experience, the inside. You experience the inside, you see the reality, clear, and what was just before seems not to be connected with what you experience now. Nothing will rise if we don't evoke. All the regulations and what is destiny according astrology will be destroyed by learning of the Kabbalah. Astrology can't reach the soul of a person. When man lives as an animal or as a social animal, he is in politics or a professor or even a Nobel Prize winner. The zodiac has influence on him, and the force of the celestial bodies affects him. What we're learning reaches much higher. We reach beyond the celestial bodies, and they do not have power to withhold us. What we're learning stays in our soul forever. That is why I tell you not to remember, not to hold on to what you're learning. It is coming in you, and at the same time, it is not from you. When you're in need, it will come again, and you can give it away. All the knowledge of your world, religion, and philosophy, it all belongs to the earthly structure. Of course, it is of help for you in this world, but only in this world. When you die, it goes together with you in the grave. What we're learning is not made by man. That's why you must not remember. Through more and more remembering, you can't come closer to the Creator. That is absolutely impossible. All this learning, Talmud and so forth, only for knowing, for the remembering, doesn't bring man closer to the Creator. It doesn't bring you freedom. Only a few of a whole generation can, by learning of the Talmud and all other Jewish sciences, and science is also given from above, can come to the light. But the most of them are sitting there and getting worn out clothes through the learning of all the dry reasons, and they will not come closer to the Creator. Of course, it is always better than doing bad business. Because all the time that there are no mochin of gadlut in her, because only malchut needs mochin of gadlut. Chokhmah, wisdom. That's why religions don't need wisdom. They only say, be merciful. Mercy. That is good for angels, not for human beings. Man comes from Nukva, and Nukva can't come to perfection to all these 13 qualities of mercy that surrounds her, and that there is no sucking from unclean forces without a little wisdom, without a shining of Chokhmah. We will learn how this mechanism works. It is the same with us. Chokhmah comes from the left side. Right and left are in a combination, and from that it comes to an average where mercy is, and within it is a little Chokhmah. Chokhmah is the strength of the act of creation and has to be in us forever. There are 7 days of the week, and Shabbat is Malchut. On every Shabbat, a Jew must bring himself in connection with the primal strengths, the primal creation strengths. In this connection are all the strengths of the 7 days, the primal strengths. In this are all the answers that can be of help for humanity. Till the end of the correction, they experience a little of the light every week. All of us have to bring up in ourselves these creating strengths and bring them to the light. What is the consequence? When you buy a new battery and put it in your mini disc, play a little and then load up the battery. Play a little and again load up, charge. In a way, you don't let empty the battery completely. Then it doesn't work after a short time because it didn't know its capacity. It is the same with man in our world. All those cultural patterns, traditions, etc., makes that we use only 2% of our creating strengths. Einstein had said man uses his capacity only for 2%. He wasn't a Kabbalist, although he could see this. It was marvelous. He was a man from our world, and through the physics he could see this. After 2,000 years of religion, culture patterns, and they were necessary to make from the human being a tame animal. There's progression, of course, but if you look at a lion that is free and lives in nature, he's beautiful. If you look at a lion in the zoo, he's a nice guy. You see him walking in the zoo, but you miss something. Every day he's fed. He don't have to hunt. He doesn't use his creating strengths. The same with us. We too don't use our creating strengths every day. In the morning you get up, take coffee, and you drive to your work. Everything is arranged. And where are you creating strengths? Where are your creating strengths? Do you know anything of your creating strengths? Rather not. Please leave me alone. We only live with a maximum of 2% given to us. Of course, we have the rest because we know we have to behave in society, but through this, we deny ourselves other things. You can't see salvation if you only use a little of the 100%. The other 98% is not in use. It lies sleeping in us. And then we are astonished why we have so much trouble. You don't use your creating strengths, and then there will be diseases. If you look at the misery of other people and you have compassion with them instead of working on yourself, you think you're a good person because you have compassion, but it is not good. You don't work on yourself. It is a comedy. And that's what the whole world is doing. They look at the suffering of others because through that you feel yourself good. It is deceit. Try to work at yourself and do not run away. Man rather give money to the poor, and this is a kind of running away from working on yourself. Many of us fled away in doing good deeds, and of course you have to do this, but it is not all. Only by doing this you don't come closer to the Creator. Remember this. Every day you have to pour out your creating strengths in each situation, in everything you do. Even in the smallest thing, you must do it with full attention, with all your strengths. When we are at work, we use a lot of our strengths, but when we are at home, we do less and less. And then you're as a battery. Your capacity becomes less till the moment all the life is out of you. There are people who are only 30 years old and have no capacity left because they didn't use all of their own strengths. Wherefrom comes all the cancer? It is by man himself, because he doesn't use his creating strengths. Cancer means all the cells start to live for oneself, because there comes no Chokmah. Only Chokmah has the power to destroy these entire swellings, spiritual as others. It is all the consequence of a shortcoming from the spiritual. What is written about Moses before his death? And Moses died. He was 120 years old. Nobody knows where he's buried. Otherwise, people would make pilgrimages, and they would believe in Moses instead of the Creator. His eyes were not troubled. His eyes were as bright as if he was 20 years. And this is possible for any of us who continuing with the Zohar. Through our learning, we wake up the other 98% of our creating strengths. Let them come to life. Now, the remaining percents are latently present. When we use these 98% and pull them up to the light, the highlight will penetrate them with a shining of Chokmah. A shining of Chokmah because it is low. A higher, as Arichampin, needs the full Chokmah. The lower, the less Chokmah is needed. Only Malchut needs Chokmah. Nobody of the operational system needs Chokmah. They already have a lot of Chokmah, and they do not need it for themselves. Remember this. All the 9 Sfirot, all the strengths in the universe serve man, and man serves the Creator. We don't have to know what the horoscope is telling us, because if we do so, we show the celestial bodies are more important to us. And it is not created in this way. The celestial body serves us. Man is the highest. The only creature that can reach for absolute perfection and can have the same strengths as the Creator. Of course, you must have modesty to the Creator, but on the other hand, He wants that we become like Him. This means that we can have the same qualities as He has. From 13 qualities, see the beginning of this lesson. We have said as long as the Nukva becomes no light of Gadlut, of perfection, thus not in the situation to experience. There is in her the sucking of outsiders. As long as she isn't in perfection, there is the sucking of outsiders. He's telling us in which conditions Malchut can be found. Later we will come step by step to the mechanism, how the Nukva comes to perfection. And then we can realize it in ourselves. In every condition, we can make that the 13 qualities of mercy will surround us. Step by step, we will learn, and slowly it becomes of your own. Whatever you do at your work, or when you receive a bad message or have negative experiences, you won't see them anymore as negative. Your soul can see the perfection in it the more you correct yourself. All the misery is in you. Misery is not to be corrected. That gives you the feeling of misery, or that other people make your life hell. At that moment you have the sucking of the unclean forces. What do you have to do on such a moment? Project the misery on others? Blame them? No. You have to grow up and know, in better or for worse, whatever your problem is. If you become irritated, then you have crossed a border, and you must go to your inner. Make contact with the inner, and then you're ready in a second. And you will ask yourself, what was the misery I had just before? The feeling I had crossed the border. It was only because a fragment of you were sucked by other forces, and the reason was your imperfect state that gave you the feeling if others did attack you. If you continue to try to hold the strengths in you, then you will feel your own creating strengths are. And you will feel where your creating strengths are. You and not society. You want to do something for society. It is all a lie. An absolute lie. Look at politicians. I don't say that they're lying, but they connect their aspirations only with society. And that is not wrong. But if you do so, you have to live your life again on this earth. It is all about your personal corrections. Not in society, not in history, was, is, and shall be something wrong. You must have strength and ask for that strength to carry this. Know that all the problems are in you. Absolutely. When you start to work at yourself, you will be released from all the problems in this life. Problems are the sucking of the klipot, the unclean forces. It doesn't matter what happens outside of you. It is all in you. Here is an enormous secret. Work at yourself. You will have a tremendous progression. What we're doing in these lessons, in such a short time, and when you work at yourself, others can't do that in a long time. Work at yourself. Of course, you have to earn a living, have society obligations, etc. And you can and have to do that. But while you are doing this, pay attention that you never cross your border. Everything must be and stay in your own strength. If not, you will receive a feeling, just as Sulam says, as long as the Malchut has a shortcoming of those 13 qualities, has no full light in you, then you feel betrayed, attacked by others, or have fears, etc. Everything depends from us. We are capable to have a perfect relation with the Creator, and depending on our effort, from our wishes, it can become true in a short time. Of course, new, higher spiritual steps will be experienced, but if you receive perfection, harmony, at the step where you are, you will experience Ein Sof. Even at the lowest step, you can experience these 13 qualities. You can be in harmony. And then you go further. But now, you have the experience of the perfection and what harmony is. What will happen then? You will get a new piece of work, a new piece of your ego. And again, you must build up strengths in yourself for to do a correction at that level too. You come at a higher step where perhaps only one sphera is corrected and 9 are below, just as with the Nukva at the creation of the world, with 1 sphera in the Atzilut and the 9 in the Bria. About 1/100th of her has light because the Keter of the Nukva has also 10 in itself. And then you have to build up again. As it were, draw the 9 oxen up high so that they can come into the sea and make a large sea. You get the perfect light of the step you are working at. You go further and further to more and higher forms of perfection. And don't ask when you have to stop. That is a question of our world. From the inside, you will get the feeling when you are ready, but don't think that you can enjoy when you're ready. Think that you can relax. Don't think that. The wisest man on earth asked for more work when they are ready because they felt miserable. They hadn't anything to do on earth. So do not ask what will happen afterwards because we won't explain it to you. Why not? Then you have a relation with the Creator, face to face, and nobody can say anything about that. We are learning all kinds of procedures, all kinds of qualities of the Creator, but your relation with the Creator you have to build up by yourself. I don't tell you, follow me, because everyone has his own relation with the Creator. This is unique in the world. We are following the Zohar, and not the common features of an earthly leader. When you follow the features of an earthly leader, you will receive, of course, his common features. I don't show you my work. You can't learn from my work, from my experience. Do you understand? I only give you a part of the Zohar, which is utilizing for everyone. You must feel and experience by yourself. I give from the part I experience, and the other side, the part that needs correction, I give to the Creator. The side that needs correction, you must only give to the Creator. If you stand on the feet of another person, of course you have to talk about it, but never speak about your spiritual work with nobody. Neither with your partner has he to know what is going on in you. You have to try at your level to speak with the Creator face to face. This is a contradiction to our world. In our world, people want you to relax. We don't want to relax, but go forwards. Even if it hurts me to go forwards, I know that I have to go through the inner layers that were at first as death for me. When you start to correct yourself, you must walk through all the sins. You can't avoid. There is only one way. You have sinned. Your inner is full of dust. And now you want to start with a good life. You have to go to the same canal. At first you had to dirty it, and now you have to go through your own dirt. How is that possible? Without pain. If there's a blockage and you don't know it, you have to go through this blockage. Never before you had experienced this blockage. Until now you had always said, here's my limit, I don't go further. Why not? 2% is mine, culture, mine tradition, my strength. And in the spiritual you have to use all the strengths. That is in you. Because if you do not do so, all these inwardly places where you had sinned give you the feeling of pain. You have to go through it. It is not real pain, no physical pain. You don't have to go to a doctor. At that moment, when you start to work at yourself and don't go to a shrink or other neighbors to clear your heart, but you work at yourself and ask at the high doctor, the only doctor, you ask at him and tell him you are miserable and you don't know how to bring up the strength to purify yourself. He will help you if it is sincere, not if you're playing a comedy. Today it is Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, and also today everything depends on your attitude, inwardly. You can go to the synagogue and say your prayers, but you will go forwards only by trust and devotion. Remember this. Otherwise, it helps you only psychological, and you don't near the Creator. We have said this before. It seems a repetition, but every time it is new, because each time it is on a new level. We are here not for the learning, but for the effect, that it helps us. That's why we have to repeat. All these repeats are not from me. They come from above. Be well until the next lesson.